I'm here at the overseas call centre of a large insurance company. With me is customer service team leader Mr. Bolte. Mr. Bolte, how easy is it to provide great insurance service to your customers?
Well, we're on another continent. You can never get through. We've no idea who you are, and we're only allowed to work from a script with the information on the screen in front of us. Frankly, you'd be better with High House.
High House Insurance, your local experts. High House Insurance don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free, no-obligation quote, call Chelsea 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Chelsea.
We're all against it to our community. We're the station that cares.
Yes, that's definitely us, the station that cares. This is Manhood Internet Radio. And this week, instead of one podcast, we actually have two. Because unfortunately, due to technical reasons, we couldn't put one out last week. So this week, we've got two. One that will be coming out on Monday, and one hopefully that will be coming out on Tuesday. So if you get notification that the podcast's available, and you get it twice, well, it's going to be for two podcasts. Right, and we move on swiftly with What's On, which is our normal weekly look at the things that are going on in and around the area for the coming week. And we start this week with Salesy. Right, on Tuesday the 9th, we've got Hatha Yoga for Wellbeing, and that's a new drop-in class at the Salesy Centre from 9:15 until 10:30. And if you'd like more information on that, you can call Stephen Francis on 01243 670 571. And from 10 a.m. until 12:30 p.m, there's a watercolour art class, and if you'd like more info on that one, you can contact Anita on 696 193. Also on Tuesday, there's Pilates with Claire Pretorius, and that's from 3:30 until 4:30, and you can contact her on 603077, and that's a drop-in class. Then we have kickboxing and Ollie Kickers Beginners, that's 4 to 6 year olds from 4 till 4:30, and once again 4 to 6 year olds Ollie Kickers, I guess that's the ones that are already experienced. That's from 4:30 till 5, and then 5 till 6 p.m. Kid Kickers for the 6 to 12 year olds. And if you'd like more information on that, you can call Lee on 07824 504 768. We've also got Zumba Fitness Party Dancing with Lisa Nino, and that's 6:30 until 7:30, and you can call Lisa on 07775 607 409. And we also have Adult Table Tennis, and that's 6:30 till 8:30 p.m, and you can contact 604 158, and that's for advanced level players only in the evenings there. So loads to do on a Tuesday. Moving on to Wednesday, well, Salesy WI have their regular monthly meeting at the Town Hall, and the guest speaker this month is Ben Cross, and Ben will be talking about British Austro-Emeria. And just in case you think that's some awful foreign disease that only Brits can catch, well, I can put your mind at rest, of course. It's not, it's a flower, and Ben will be talking about this particular species. On Thursday the 11th, at the Royal British Legion in Salesy High Street, Salesy Events will be hosting a St Valentine's dinner, and that's in the company of local singer Bobby Barnes. And for more information on that, you can have a look at Salesy Events Facebook page. And also on Thursday, there's a cinema club at the Town Hall, and that's running Under Milk Wood, Dylan Thomas's Under Milk Wood, which is described as the ultimate date movie. And that's tickets for that are £5 and begins at 7:30. On Friday the 12th, at the Salesy Centre, there's early morning Pilates with Claire Pretorius. That's from 8:30 until 9:30 a.m, and you can contact Claire on 603 077. That's a drop-in session, just turn up for that. You've got Beginners Pilates with Claire also, and that's 9:45 until 10:45, same number, that's also a drop-in session. Got a soft play fun session for the under fives, and that's from 9:30 until 11 a.m, and you can contact either Sue or Tom on 604 642. Now later in the day, we've got the Dance Club, which is at 5:30 until 6:30 with Nadia, and you can contact Nadia on 0758 396 8422. And there's Ballroom Dance Private Tuition by Appointment from 7 till 8 p.m, and you can call 776393 if you're interested in that. And then after that, there's intermediate and improved level instruction and social dance, and that's from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m, And if you want information, well, it's the same number, 776 393. Well, on Saturday, Selsey FC are away to Midhurst and Easebourne, and that's a 2 o'clock kick-off. So if you want to get up there, you need to get to Midhurst and Easebourne's ground by 2 o'clock. And in the evening, there's a quiz night with a ploughman's lunch and a dessert, and that's from 6 p.m. at the Selsey Methodist Church. The tickets for that are £5 from Amanda's Hobby Hideout, and teams of 8 people maximum. And of course, if you haven't got 8 people, it doesn't matter, they'll put you together with others, and you can make up a team of 8. And on Sunday the 14th, now don't forget Sunday the 14th, whatever you do, because if you forget that one day in the year, you'll be reminded every other day in the year about it. That's Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, from 2:30 until 5:30 at the Selsey Centre, the Selsey Community First Responders are holding a Valentine's cream tea. Now, it was absolutely rammed out last year, so they've taken the whole Selsey Centre over this year instead of part of it, and it promises to be a very good do, raising lots of money for a very worthy cause. So that's 2:30 till 5:30. There'll be Valentine's cream tea, there's live music, so come along there and have a real good time. And finally, on Monday the 15th, well, Monday is Movies for Memories at the Town Hall, and that's showing Gigi. Entrance is free for that, and lunch is included. What more can you say? And that's just a brief look at just a few of the things that are going on in and around Selsey for the coming week. There's an awful lot more happening. All you got to do is get out there and find it. I'm extremely pleased to say that we've got a new member on the team. His name is John Mallet, and John recently moved to Selsey, and he's an astronomer. And I think I'll let him fill the rest of the story in. John.
Yes, I moved here 5 months ago from Gloucestershire, where I had an observatory 700 foot up above the Wye Valley. Very nice it was too. And Selsey was a good choice for me because of the dark skies here. I think the people living here on the peninsula are very lucky because there's more clear days here than most of the rest of the sites in the UK. And there's also a history here, of course, with a passion for studying the universe, Sir Patrick Moore, and now Tim Peake on the ISS, who lived in Chichester. So you can also find out when the ISS is going over if you have a look at the website, which is http:// spot the station, that's all one part, .nasa.gov, and you can see when it's going overhead. If you need any help from me in setting up your telescope, I'm happy to help with that, and you can get in contact with me at john@astro.me.uk. What I plan to do, if I can, is highlight what you can see in the sky from month to month, particularly related to visual astronomy, maybe using binoculars, things like that, and tell you some of the events that are going on. This month has been pretty important for the local area because there's been an application by the South Downs National Park to be a dark sky national park, and that was submitted in January, and it's expected that the results from that will be out in the spring. And if it's approved, there'll be investment in the South Downs National Park to reduce light pollution that will allow us to be able to see the Milky Way from designated sites within the Dark Sky Park. And for more information on that, you can look at the South Downs National Park website, which is www.southdowns.gov.uk. And as Keith was saying, really, he was out looking at the stars. This month really is an ideal time to look at the Orion Nebula. And if you go out at about 10 o'clock on a clear night, look south, you'll see a really bright star, Sirius, one of our close neighbours. It's only 8.6 light years distance. Doesn't sound much, but it's actually quite a lot, since 1 light year is about a million miles. And the 3 stars that are called Orion's Belt are over to the right of that, and of course Orion is called the Hunter, which are 4 stars in the 4 corners, and then the 3 stars go across the belt. Below the belt stars, there's a group of stars forming Orion's Sword. If you look through binoculars at these, you'll find the Orion Nebula, which is actually quite difficult to see because it's very dim. But if you look just away from it a little bit with your eye, you can often see it suddenly appear. That's because your optic nerve in the centre of your eye doesn't allow you to see anything very much of any detail right in the centre of your eye.
You just answer the question that I've been asking myself for years. Why is it? And I do it quite often. I sit out in the garden at night and I look up in the sky and I see things and then they're not there.
That's right. That's right.
And I thought, I can't be seeing it. It was definitely there. And then I look again and I'll perhaps see it again and then I look and it's not there.
And
I thought it was my imagination. I really did.
It's not. It's very common. It's a technique that's known by most astronomers. It's called averted vision. And what you have to do is look where you think it's going to be, then just look a little bit way to the left or to the right, and it will suddenly pop up. Unfortunately, what you then do is look directly at it, and it disappears again, which is the sort of thing.
Absolutely as it happens. John.
It is.
I'm amazed.
It's frustrating, but you get used to it eventually. To the east, low down, is Jupiter. It's possible to see its moon through binocular, and that's always very interesting because each night you'll see the moons change position. You think they're just stars next to it, but they'll actually change position every night because they have different orbital periods. So those are the things to look for this month. Hope you have some success in finding them.
Well, I should definitely be out there having a look now that I know I'm not going crackers when I look up there and see things that disappear. Well, thanks very much for that, John, and I look forward to a long-lasting relationship between yourself and Manhood Internet Radio, because there are an awful lot of people down here that love to look up at the stars, but don't really know very much about them. I'm certainly one of those. But because you can see them, it's lovely to look up at them. And people like me that teetering on the edge that really want to know a bit more, but frightened to ask. Well, thanks once again, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, thanks now. And that was our new man on the team here, John Mallet. Absolutely amazing. I've been doing this for years, looking up in the sky and seeing things, and I'm frightened to say it to everybody in case they thought I was balmy. Well, thanks for reassuring me that I'm not as crackers as I thought, John. In the studio with me now, I've got several people rolled into one. And my next guest is an amazing lady called Dawn Gracie, and Dawn does several different types of acts. One definitely for the WI, and one definitely not for the WI. And so I better explain.
Don't be fooled.
Yeah, don't be fooled. I better explain that. On the Sunday the 22nd of May, there's an evening called, or afternoon tea, and it's called Forget Me Not, and it's for dementia friends, and it's sponsored by Thomas Egger, part of Irwin Mitchell. And now this is afternoon tea, which includes 50s and 60s entertainment and dementia information, so you don't have to be suffering from dementia to go there. But if you're a carer looking after somebody that's got dementia, you might well enjoy it as much as anybody else that's there. And you can get information on dementia as well. So it's a lot of things rolled into one. Her other persona is involved in an evening of entertainment which is called Chichester Cabaret Club. Now this happens every other month, I believe.
Yep.
And this will be at the Pallant Suite in South Pallant in Chichester. And it's definitely 18 plus.
It is.
And you can find out more information about that in just a minute when I start talking to this young lady. Forget Me Not, Dawn. How long have you been involved with dementia?
Well, since I started doing my act as Dawn's Vintage Do, which is a 50s and 60s singer, I've been performing in local nursing homes. I volunteer at St Wilfrid's Hospice, so I come up against people, not the term suffering with is actually incorrect, I have to correct you there.
Yes,
it's living with. Because people with dementia can lead very happy, fulfilling lives, but they just have to live with what they are diagnosed with. So I come up against people who are living with dementia quite often, whether it be in nursing homes, because the way I dress and the way I look for work, I tend to attract attention in the street, and I have people approaching me very randomly who just want to talk to me about the 50s and 60s because of the way I dress for work. And so it's something that is just part of the work that I do. So I come up against people all the time And like I say, when I sing in nursing homes, the effect that the 50s and 60s have on people of a certain age is unbelievable.
Of course, the 50s and 60s now, people that were around music in the 50s and 60s would be the age group that are probably suffering from dementia now.
Exactly. So. And, you know, the whole thing with dementia is that your recent recall has gone, depending on, you know, the stage that you're at, but the things you'll remember are from way back when, so even predating you having children or retiring. So people of a certain age who are around in the favourite era of mine, 1958 to be specific, is one of my favourite years. I wish I'd been 19 in 1958, very cool year. You're now thinking about that, aren't you?
I'm thinking how old I was,
Whether
actually.
I was.
And I was, well, I don't tell you, but yeah, I was 9, actually. So,
but the emotions, of course, because of the way I dress and look, obviously you can't see that on radio, but if you look on my website, you can. People want to talk about, you know, the petticoats and, I remember the sugar and water or the beer shampoo. People want to talk about it, and they will talk about it to me as if it was today. And that's a real part of my job that is a privilege to be able to sort of share that with people, and obviously singing songs from their favourite era, and they'll remember every single word of every single song, but won't remember who it is sat next to them or where they are. And again, people living with dementia, you have to allow them to enjoy the moment that is there in front of them, as opposed to continually reminding them of who you are or what they did yesterday or even this morning. So it's a tough condition to be living with, but I'm very honoured that I have a job where I can help people, you know, to be happy in that moment on that particular day. So that's really why the Forget Me Not event came about, because it's Dementia Week, and I know Chichester is applying to be a dementia-friendly city. Do you know what that entails?
No.
Dementia-friendly cities are where all the shops will abide by a certain code of conduct. So, for instance, somebody with dementia walking into your shop, if you have one of those black rubber mats that take water off people's shoes, that's a real no-go for somebody with dementia, because of course that can look like a hole. So all shops and public places will adhere to a certain code of conduct, and just there are, you know, shopkeepers will be aware of people potentially showing signs of dementia, and just being more aware of it. So I can't remember why I get very passionate about this, but so it's my campaign to help the city's cause on that front, and of course, you know, I am in the public eye, and so I think doing events in the public eye, and I'm very lucky that Thomas Egger, part of Urban Mitchell, as you said, have got behind this and sponsored this afternoon tea. So it's going to be a fab afternoon of music, and people will arrive and they'll have some beautiful piano music playing, and I shall get up on stage and do the entertainment, some sing-alongs, you know, Que Sera Sera and all that sort of thing. People absolutely love it. And we've got Cafe Royale providing the full vintage crockery afternoon tea. So it's, sorry, I can go on about, you better interrupt me. But
sounds wonderful. One nice water and thinking about the afternoon
because
tea.
Because I have a following of people that love the whole vintage style. So people my age, you know, in their 40s and late 30s. I said 40s, didn't I? I meant 20s, obviously. If you just like dressing up and the whole vintage styling, which of course Chichester is the home of, let's face it, then you can come along and dress up and have fun. You don't have to have anything to do with the whole dementia campaign, but of course it will help our cause. And we have had some bookings of big groups of people from homes that have their own transport, and they are bringing residents out for it, because again, it's a day trip. It's all about experiences. It's all about you know, living for that day and giving them special memories, even if it only lasts for such a short time. Because when you leave someone in a home with dementia, if you spent your whole time focusing on, you know, making them feel bad because they can't remember who you are, if you can leave them smiling because they just had a fabulous day, they won't remember what I've done or what they've seen, but they'll remember, the emotion stays with them for much longer. So that's what I feel really passionately about, and that's why this event. So it's an awareness afternoon, and we are going to be fundraising for St Wilfrid's Hospice, who are transforming some of their rooms into dementia-friendly rooms, which again is more than just putting some pictures up. It's all, like I said, it's all to do with the layout, and just tons of things.
And that's taking place on Sunday the 22nd of May.
It is, yeah.
Tickets are £18 and £15 for concessions.
Yeah. So if you're OAP, then or a resident in a home, then it's £15. But I mean, that is really good value anyway. Don't care what anyone says. And it's at Westbourne House School, which is in Ooving, which is a beautiful big hall, fabulous.
And tickets for that are available at www.dawnsvintagedo.com.
Exactly. So you can just book directly there, and and I look forward to greeting you. We've got a few little surprise guests on the day as well. My friends Gladys and Maud. They're 1950s char ladies, and they're going to be there helping everyone enjoy their day. So I think Hilda Ogden, the local Hilda Ogdens are going to be there.
Moving along.
Full stop, forward slash.
To Dawn's Vintage Do presents
Yeah.
the Chichester Cabaret Club. Now,
Yes.
I'm just looking at the little flyer here. And
Probably best you
it
just read
strikes
it,
me
really.
as being it strikes me as being somewhat different to the other little flyer that I was reading just
It
now.
is.
So this is adults only, 18 plus.
Yeah.
A lot of tongue-in-cheek humour, I guess.
There is, yes. And it really, the Chichester Cabaret Club just is my other passion, which is variety entertainment. I grew up on a diet of Morecambe and Wise, Kenny Everett, all the real, I mean, how they got away with, Kenny Everett, how he got away with some of the stuff, if you look back at that. And we kind of lost the way with variety entertainment, I think. And I'm a nostalgic girl, and I feel stuck back in that era. But the Chichester Cabaret Club is a modern slant on that. So yes, we'll have drag queens. Yes, we'll have comedians who might push the boundary of taste a little bit, but it is for adults only. I mean, adults only is such a strange term, isn't it? When you say adults only, it makes it sound really, really bad. But we're all adults.
The strange thing, of course, about it is that if anybody would be upset by any of it, it would be adults.
Well, yes, I know.
People under 18 wouldn't take a
I
blind bit of notice of any of it, would they? Just
know.
accept it for what it is.
Exactly. So I've kind of pitched this as bi-monthly entertainment evenings for the open-minded adults of Chichester. And I moved here from Brighton 16 years ago now. And my friends in Brighton said, Chichester? Where's that? And what's, it kind of seemed to be like a dead hole of excitement. Okay, when I moved here, I cannot tell you, I wouldn't move back to, don't tell anyone I said this from Brighton, but Chichester has so much to offer, but it's kind of, we're a university city. There are lots of things going on, and it needs to be showcased. And I'm going to be tapping into the university. In fact, I'm doing a show at the university tomorrow night, and I want to bring it to life because there is stuff here. And our launch, which happened on the 30th of Jan, members of the Chamber of Commerce came along, local businesses came along, lots of, my family came along even, and they all said, "Oh, it's about time." I'm like, well, yeah, it's always been here, but it just needed pushing out there, and I think with my sort of strength of marketing and PR and all that sort of stuff, I'm the person to do it. But I am the hostess. I'm a professional compere and general mouthpiece. I think you'll agree, as you probably can't get a word in edgeways. But
this has been one of the easiest.
Oh, has it? Good.
One of the easiest interviews I've done.
Well,
I almost feel redundant.
I'll put my CV in the post. So you
can have the job.
Are you giving it away?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. But I love showing people a good time. I love seeing people smile and enjoy themselves. So the whole Dawn's Vintage Do does that very easily and very happily. The Chichester Cabaret Club, it shows that I like a few raised eyebrows as well. And I think you should have, if you come away from a variety evening saying, I loved and understood every single thing I saw, then it possibly wasn't that varied.
No.
I don't know. I think you should be pushed. But I know Chichester's audience. I've worked here and lived here long enough. I know the audience. I know what I can get away with. And I'm going to we've started in easily. The first cover girl was Marilyn Monroe. That pretty much does what it says on the tin, and she was awesome. From now on, it's going to be, some of the acts might push the boundary, but it will all be done in the best possible taste. Because, of course, I have a reputation. Of course, the other aspect of what I do, I can't afford to. I'm not going to go out there to upset people deliberately, but people do need to be challenged, and Chichester is a heart. I mean, look at the festival theatre that we have. We are a heart of culture and arts. But the local people of Chichester want, and the Palance Suite, the Freemasons Hall, it's hilarious actually, because people are saying, oh, I never knew that was there. I'm like, it's a Freemasons Hall. You're not supposed to. So come and let me share my little secret with you. So that is the Chichester Cabaret Club, and I'm willing to hear from anybody. So for anyone, in fact, anyone in this room, if you've got a little hidden talent, you never know, I can put you on the stage, because we'll always have a slot for for a beginner. We can't do bands, but we can do musicians. Am I going to read that out that you're showing to me? Oh, who's that? Who's Bobby Barnes?
Well,
who's Bobby Barnes?
All right, and this cabaret club takes place on the 12th of March.
The next one, yep.
That's
So
the next one.
12th of March. Just
doors at 7 p.m. and show starts at 7:30.
Yep.
And don't get there late, because
no, exactly.
you don't want to walk into a show like that and be late. I promise
Because
you.
the naughty hostess compere will always pick on someone who's late. Trust me.
I can imagine.
And the good thing about this cabaret club is it's and my style of presenting. You've seen me present before. Is I love to get people involved. Okay, I know I'm no Leona Lewis or Whitney Houston when it comes to singing, but I'm an entertainer. My job is to involve you. And if you walk away or come away from that evening or might forget me not thinking, I feel great, I feel like I've been entertained, rather than she had the voice of an angel, then I want you to be entertained. I want you to come away feeling amazing. So whether it be if you are living with dementia or have a situation where you're caring with someone with dementia, if you both come away feeling amazing, and from the Chichester Cabaret Club, if you come away feeling slightly challenged and a little bit confused, but generally fantastic, then I've done my job. And that's all that I aim to achieve.
So that's the 12th of March. As I say, doors at 7 p.m. Show starts 7:30. Tickets available from Dawn's website, which is www.dawnsvintagedo.com, and tickets for the Cabaret Club are £10 in advance or £12 on the door,
which
and you
there
must
were never,
be 18.
There'll never be any on the door, because I've already almost sold out March on that one.
Well,
I need a big
done.
venue.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Minerva Theatre will allow me in next year to do a big show there, because Chichester needs it and Chichester wants it. Just one little extra thing I'll just slip in there. Thomas Egger, part of Owen Mitchell, who very kindly sponsored the Forget Me Not event, because events with multi-cast are very expensive to put on. As you know, cabarets are really expensive to do, because you have the cast, the crew, the stage hands, and all the performers. The Cabaret Club is my baby. Okay, I'm funding it, and so people's ticket money, booking fee, it just costs a lot. So I am reaching out to the business people of Chichester. So I'm offering sponsor packages. You'll see at the bottom of that poster, I've got Creation Salon and Quite Fancy That magazine, who have sponsored, basically paying for the flyer and the venue. That's what that's covered. But there is a full sponsorship package, so every show will have a different sponsor on the bottom. And if you really fancy being generous, then you can have the reverse of the flyer as well. And through the powers of my general social media and publicity stunts, sponsors will get lots of mentions everywhere. And of course, a VIP table if they take the back of the flyer, so they can sit right at the front or right at the back. That's their choice.
Well, there you go, sponsors. You can have the back of the flyer. It's an A5 flyer, so there'll be plenty of space on the back of there.
Or a logo along the bottom, exactly.
Or a logo along the bottom, yes, whichever you prefer. So you need to...
just contact me on... my website's got all my contact details on there. And I'm, it's my gift to Chichester. Whether Chichester accepts it with open arms, so far so good, but we'll see. But you're only here once, and I love entertaining and I love watching people enjoy it, so that's me.
Well, thanks very much for coming.
You're very welcome.
Both of you.
Thank you. We're all fabulous to see you.
And two totally different afternoon or evening's entertainment there. Mm-hmm. And I would say well worth a visit.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'll see you there, front row.
Absolutely. No. I wouldn't be that silly. I'll bury myself in the middle of the crowd somewhere.
But the Forget Me Not event, my vintage persona. I mean, it's all the same persona, but just one's more cheeky than the other. But the vintage persona, that's my day job. I weddings, parties, all sorts of things like that. So she will be available on that day. And Forget Me Not, I hope to do it again next year if it goes well this year, which I'm assuming it will. But the Cabaret Club, yeah, come along, have fun, and challenge yourself.
Well, thanks very, very much for coming.
You're so
in,
well.
Dawn.
Thank you so much for inviting me in.
And
Thank you so
we
much.
hope to talk to you again in the future.
Brilliant.
One of you at least.
Thank you.
Hi, and welcome once again to Keithy's Kitchen. I have to say I'm not a tremendous lover of belly of pork, although my wife is very fond of it. And because I know my place, here we go with a recipe for roast belly of pork with apples and sage. Now this will serve 4 good portions, and what we need is 1.5 kilograms of pork belly deeply scored, 2 tablespoonfuls of finely chopped fresh thyme leaves, 2 teaspoonfuls of sea salt flakes, 1 teaspoonful of coarsely ground black pepper plus some extra for seasoning, 3 medium apples, and these need to be peeled, quartered, cored and then cut into thick slices, 2 medium onions sliced, a good handful of fresh sage leaves, 2 teaspoonfuls of plain flour, 200 ml of cider and some freshly ground black pepper. And this is what we do. Preheat the oven to 240 degrees centigrade, that's gas mark 9. Place the pork on a board and pat the rind dry with kitchen paper. Mix the thyme with the salt and pepper and rub this seasoning mixture into the pork rind and on the underside of the pork. Now place the pork in a sturdy roasting tin or flameproof baking tray and roast for 25 to 30 minutes. This will give the rind a chance to bubble and become really crisp. Now turn the oven down to 180 degrees centigrade, gas mark 4, and continue roasting for another hour. Toss the apples with the onions, the whole sage leaves and a few twists of black pepper for a bit of seasoning, and make a compact pile in the centre of a clean, smallish roasting tin. Now when ready, remove the pork from the oven and place it on top of the apples and onions, keeping the apple and onion pieces snugly underneath so that they don't burn. Keep the first roasting tin to one side because you'll need that for the cooking juices to make the gravy. Return the pork to the oven and cook for a further hour until the meat's really succulent and tender. Take the first roasting tin, skim off any fat from the cooking juices and place the tin over a medium heat. Stir in the flour and cook for a minute or so, stirring constantly, and gradually stir in the cider and 100 ml of water and bring to a simmer. Now cook that for 3 to 4 minutes and keep stirring it. Strain it through a sieve into a small saucepan and season to taste and set aside. And when the pork is cooked, transfer it to a carving board. Scoop up the apple and the onion with a large spoon and place in a warmed serving bowl. Reheat the cider gravy until it's bubbling and cut the pork into thick slices. Now serve the pork and crackling with the apple and sage and the hot gravy. And anything else you'd like to go with that. Lovely tasty roast belly of pork with apples and sage. Maybe the wife's not so bad after all. My next guest in the studio now is Tony Martin, and Tony's going to be talking to us about the Gainsborough Singers. Now, from what I understand, the Gainsborough Singers were formed just over 2 years ago. They've currently got about 15 members, including a pianist, and they go around to different places singing songs from the shows and from the 50s, 60s and 70s. And they perform around local old folks' homes and afternoon clubs, and they also put on a show in August as part of the Selsey Festival. Right, morning Tony.
Good morning, Keith.
Now, tell us a little bit about Gainsborough Singers. Have you got to be a good singer to join?
No, you haven't. In fact, some of the people that have joined us are learning to sing with us. So it's not an essential. We just sing for fun. So we come along, we have a jolly good fun singing session. And then we thought, well, if we could use this to raise some money for charities, We will, and that's what we've done over the last 12 months, 15 months.
Well done. So when you go to the local homes and stuff, you don't charge for that?
No, we don't charge. We accept donations, and we let the people in the homes decide what they're going to give us. But if they ask us, we normally say £20 to £25. Some will give us just 10 because that's all they can afford. Some can afford a bit more and will give us £50.
Oh, well, that's very generous of those that do that. But I mean, as long as they're donating what they can afford, then you don't mind, do you? It's all money coming in, and so it's all money going to a charity.
Yeah, every penny goes to charity. We don't keep any of the money ourselves that's donated to us.
And of course, the people that you're going to visit benefit greatly from it.
Oh, it's great to see their faces. They all join in with the songs too. When we're performing, you can see them all joining in. But we also include sing-along numbers in our performance as well.
Oh, right.
So that we get them actually to sing along with us, and we provide them with the words so that they can do.
Well, if I came and joined you, you'd have to supply me with the words. I've got a terrible memory. Ask anybody that worked with me in SACOS, which is where I first met you, of course.
Yeah. Regard the words, I mean, we do sing from words all the time because there are some people in there who would be scared to do it without.
Yes.
The people that are with us at the moment are people without experience of singing until they joined us 15 months ago. So it doesn't matter whether you can remember the words or not because they'll be in front of you.
Oh, well, that's a great thing. So now I understand that in 2015 you raised a grand total of £655, which was divided equally between Selsey Community First Responders and St Wilfrid's Hospice.
This is correct, yeah.
And that's two very deserving local charities, as I'm fully aware. Now, I believe you'd like to make a plea for male members.
Yeah, this is a bit of a plea. We're very short on male members. It seems that the ladies are happy to come forward and sing and have fun, but us fellas seem a little bit shy.
Well, it's probably because while the ladies are out singing with you, the men are out having to do the housework and stuff like that.
Well, they're more likely out playing golf.
Yeah, well, we won't go into that bit either. and so you're looking for male members. They don't have to be able to sing.
No, I know.
Although if they can sing in tune, it's a bonus.
That's a great help, yeah. And there's no auditions. You don't have to audition. You just need to enjoy singing and come along and have some fun. That's all we require, really.
When do you perform?
We meet every Tuesday afternoon between 2 and 4, and we try to arrange all of our concerts for a Tuesday afternoon if we can. There are one or two that we can't, but we keep them to a Tuesday afternoon where possible.
Oh, that's also very useful because most people have got Tuesday afternoons free. And if people want to contact you?
Yep, they can contact me on 01243 607796.
Right, so that's 01243 607796. Contact Tony Martin and you can go along on a Tuesday and sing your heart out and you'll be amongst like-minded souls because they're a good bunch, that I do know. And you can help raise money for charity and also entertain a lot of people and make a lot of people very happy. Well, thanks for coming in, Tony.
Well, thanks for having me.
And you and I might just have a chat about my availability after the end of the interview.
Sounds good.
Thanks very much, Sam. Right, with me now I've got Les Hilton, and Les is going to be telling us a little bit about SACOS and what's going on with SACOS and the events that they've got coming up. Good afternoon, Les.
Hi, Keith.
Now, I believe you've got a couple of events in the offing, one not too far away, towards the end of this month.
That's true, yeah.
27th, is it?
27th, yeah. Saturday the 27th.
Fish and chip supper.
Fish and chip supper and a jazz night.
And a jazz night with the Miller's Men, is it? The Miller's Men?
That's correct, yeah. The Miller's Men live jazz band.
Yes, a very good they are too, I have to say. I quite like a bit of jazz, so that'd be right up my street, but unfortunately I can't beat it. I've got a birthday party in Aldingbourne, so can't be there for that. And this is in an effort, of course, to raise funds, because as we've discussed before, I think most of the people that go to see the shows, and the main show this year, which is on at the end of March, I believe, Les, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah. 30th of March to the 2nd of April.
Which is Hello Dolly. Now, if you've never been and seen a SACOS show, you've really missed something. They're a very special production. And this year they've got a lot younger cast. Now, those of you that have seen the shows in the past will know how unusual that is, but they've got a lot of new young blood coming in, coming through, and very entertaining they are too, and very talented. And of course they've still retained some of the old fossils, except this one, because I didn't do it this year. And these shows cost an awful lot of money, and so the fundraising that they do, they really do need. So if you haven't got your tickets for the fish and chip supper, it's about time you went and got them, and I believe they're available from High House Insurance up the High Street.
That's correct, yeah.
And they're
£12 a ticket, that includes your supper.
£12 a ticket including your supper, and I believe there's a pay bar.
There is a pay bar, yeah.
So you can go and eat, drink and be merry, and they won't mind if you be merry either. And who's going to be playing the lead roles in this year's production, Les?
Yes, well we've got Kevin Cassidy, who's playing Van der Gelder, sorry. Most people will know Kevin. He's actually been our leading man now for quite a few years. But this is actually a perfect role for him. It's right up his street. But what we have got this year is we have a new leading lady. Her name is Christine Henry. And when I say a new leading lady, she's a new leading lady for us, but in the sort of amateur theatre world, she's very good. We've managed to poach her from Chaos, which is Chichester, mainly because she's always wanted to do this role, and they did it several years ago, and she didn't get the opportunity to play Dolly then, so she's really looking forward to playing it with us, and she's great. So I think the team of Kevin and Christine will be very good.
So we've got some new faces, some young blood in there, Les. Young Simon Townsend, I believe, and
yeah, we've got Simon Townsend. A lot of these youngsters have made their way up from Cloud9. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Cloud9. They do the Panto every year, and they do normally do a youth production in the summer. Last year they did Greece, which I know you came to, and you did a feature on it, and
excellent show,
fabulous show
excellent
it was.
show.
Yeah. So what we've managed to do, which is something we've been trying to do over the years, is we've now managed to get the youngsters coming into SACOS. So sort of like Cloud9 and SACOS are now sort of working together to sort of bring them through. And we've got a great bunch now. We've got 6 or 7 of them, and they sort of age range from 14 up to I think about 32, which for a bunch of principals, that's, as you said earlier, that's actually quite young for SACOS. It's nice to see that we've got that age range coming through.
Well, it is, because any numbers that call for a dance routine now can be done by the youngsters, and the older ones, and those like myself that didn't dance at all, can rest their weary legs. Yeah. So I would have been pleased to see it if I'd have been in there this year, Les, and I shall keep an eye on it next year. Now, as I said, these shows cost an awful lot of money to put on. I think it's about somewhere around 15-16 grand, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which is raised by ticket sales and fundraising events and sponsorship by some of the local companies. And if you own a local company and you feel like you could do with sponsoring something, somewhere to spend your money, contact Les and have a chat to him, because I'm sure he'd be more than happy to relieve you of it. And he's well known around the village, so you'll have no trouble finding him. He's down at Ginger Signs and Graphics. If you can't find him anywhere else, you might find him there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you'll give us your phone number, won't you, Les?
I will do. I'll do that in a minute, but I will just say that the sponsorship side of things is actually quite important, and also that there's some opportunities with sponsorship this year. It's not just we do a program for the show every year, and we can put adverts and stuff in there. So if people just want a little ad in there for 30-40 quid or something like that, that's something we can do. So there's opportunities there. Obviously, if they want to give us more money than that, then we'll quite happily come up with some sponsor deals. Neil from High House, for example, he's a great sponsor of ours, and so when you come to the show, you always see his signs all over the place, because he loves to promote his company, which is a good thing. But yeah, no, the fundraising side is very important. Like you said a moment ago, 15 grand roughly is what it costs to put these shows on. And that's a lot of money to try and find. Well,
I think I'm right saying, I think we worked it out last year, that it wouldn't be covered by ticket sales.
No.
Even if you sold every ticket on every performance,
no,
it wouldn't be sold.
No, I think that pretty much would cover half.
So in order to keep the ticket prices reasonable,
yeah,
we need to find funding from somewhere. We need to find funds from somewhere.
Yeah, we do. And you know, we do know that we've got to keep the ticket prices reasonable. I mean, this year they're £9.50, or if you happen to be a concession, which is the Saturday matinee and the Wednesday evening, they're £8.50. But in comparison to other amateur societies around the local area, you know, we are still giving good value for money. I believe Chaos's last show was something like £15 a ticket, and I know Bognor Regis did the same. So you know, it is good value, and you know, we are at least as good a standard as they are, in my opinion. Much better.
I would say that the production of the show normally is a top production.
Yeah.
And I've heard it said by people that attended shows when I've been on front of house and stuff. So it is a top production, and it's very low ticket money. So it's absolute value for money. But consequently, you need support for these fundraising events.
We do. Hence the reason the Fish and Chips Up are a very important event for us. We did it a year and a half ago. Very successful event. Really good evening. Fish and chips are done by a local fish and chip company as well, so you know, because we believe in trying to keep everything local where we can as well. So yeah, definitely good evening. So grab your tickets for that, and grab your tickets for the show.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming in, Les, and giving a shout out for SACOS and letting people know roughly what's being spent on their entertainment, because you know, they really do need to pay for it one way or the other. Well, thanks very much, Les, and I look forward to seeing the shows from out in the audience this year.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you there.
That'd be brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks
See you
very
again
much.
soon, mate.
Cheers.
The Weather Report.
And now for a look at the weather for the coming week. Well, Tuesday is going to be a far less windy day than Monday or even Sunday was, with winds dying down from 60 odd mile an hour down to 28 or thereabouts. There's a 70% chance of rain on Tuesday and a temperature of 7 degrees, which is not very warm at all. Wednesday is going to be brighter, it's going to be sunshine, very little chance of rain, temperatures up to 10 degrees and the wind dying off to 24 miles an hour, so it's getting a bit quieter. Thursday, not a great deal of chance of rain, maybe just an odd shower, temperature at 9 degrees and the wind dying down even more, down to 18 miles an hour. Now on Friday it's going to get a bit rougher again, because there's an 80% chance of rain, temperature of only 8 degrees and the wind picking up and coming from the east at 37 miles an hour. And Saturday will be virtually the same as Friday, with just slightly less chance of rain. And Sunday, well, Sunday's one of those days when you might or might not get some rain. There's a 40% chance of rain, but and the wind dying back once again to 24 miles an hour. So all in all, a fairly blustery and could be quite wet week to look forward to. And that's it for podcast number 1 this week. But don't forget, we've got another podcast coming along in a couple of days' time, or maybe even just 1 day's time. And so keep your eye out for that. It's totally different to this one. And it just leaves me to say thank you to our producer, John Fletcher, to our new member of the team, John Mallet, to our researcher, Jill Barnes. This is Keith Barnes saying thanks for joining us. See you again very soon.